Hello family and friends, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for coming back. I apologize in advance for the late uploads. I do my readings first thing in the morning. Right now it's 10 to 9 a.m. and whenever this post is when it posts, and I've been doing them in the morning, and Friday's post still didn't upload, and so after these ones upload, I'm gonna just delete it and reload it. So Friday's video is still doing like this, refusing to upload for some reason, so I apologize for that as well. So let's just say our prayer and get going. Lord, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for every single soul who can hear my voice. Give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, again, I'll try to not have a long video, but hey, I'm just following along with the chronological read. And, you know, I do try to read with some type of comprehension and pace so that it's not, you know, so I'm not just blaring through it and it just being words. I do want to glean some meaning from it all. So a real quick review. Yesterday's reading, we covered Leviticus 20 through 22. So my quick note for chapter 20 was, remember, if you did get to watch yesterday's video, I said, I wonder what Molech is. Is that a place, or is it a god? It sounds like an idol, and it is a Canaanite. It's the Canaanite god of child sacrifice. So apparently these the Canaanites, which is separate from the Israelites, which is God's chosen people, they have all these different customs and rituals, which brings me to verse 22, and it says, you shall therefore keep all my statutes and all my rules and do them, that the land where I'm bringing you to live may not vomit you out, and you shall not walk in the customs of the nation that I'm driving out before you. So you can tell that certain nations, you know, they had, what in the world? Somebody busting in on me. I'm trying to do a live here, buddy. Quiet. Anyway, so apparently they do all these different customs and false gods and idol worship and all those things. So God is trying to set his people apart, which is why we're seeing that there's so many rules, right? So punishment for sexual immorality, and even in there it said that the Egyptians did a bunch of these different immoral practices, and he don't want his people, the Israelites, to do them. And then chapter 21 is all about holiness and the priest, and saying, you know, what they're responsible for. And 22 was all about acceptable offerings to the Lord, which brings us to our reading today. We have to read starting at 23 through 25. So let's just get started so we can hopefully not have a long video. And I apologize for all the noise. You know, first thing in the morning, there's a lot of cleaning, just like in hotels. They go up and down the halls, going inside rooms, all kinds of, you can tell everyone's awake right now. It's a little loud. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel and say to them, these are the appointed feasts of the Lord, and that you shall proclaim as holy convocations. They are my appointed feast. The Sabbath. 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work. It is a Sabbath to the Lord in all your dwellings. The Passover. These are the appointed feasts of the Lord, the holy convocations, which you shall proclaim at the time appointed for them. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at twilight is the Lord's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread to the Lord. For 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread. On the first day you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, but you shall present a food offering to the Lord for 7 days. On the seventh day is a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. Remember the feast of first fruits. Verse 9. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land that I give you and reap its harvest, you shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord, so that you may be accepted. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it, and on the day when you wave the sheaf, you shall offer a male lamb, a year old, without blemish, as a burnt offering to the Lord. Oh my gosh, hold on. All right, sorry about that. My toilet stopped flushing, so the maintenance was fixing the toilet. That's why it was so loud. Anyway, we are on Leviticus chapter 23, verse 15. I think that's where we left off. The Feast of Weeks. You shall count 7 full weeks from the day after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought the sheaf of the wave offering. You shall count 50 days to the day after the seventh Sabbath. Then you shall present a grain offering of new grain to the Lord. You shall bring from your dwelling places 2 loaves of bread to be waved, made of 2/10 of an ephah. They shall be of fine flour, and they shall be baked with leaven, as first fruits to the Lord. And you shall present with the bread 7 lambs a year old without blemish, and 1 bull from the herd, and 2 rams. They shall be a burnt offering to the Lord, with their grain offering and their drink offerings, a food offering with a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And you shall offer 1 male goat for a sin offering, and 2 male lambs a year old as a sacrifice of peace offerings. And the priest shall wave them with the bread of the first fruits as a wave offering before the Lord with the 2 lambs. They shall be holy to the Lord for the priest. And you shall make a proclamation on the same day. You shall hold a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work. It is a statute forever in all your dwelling places throughout your generations. 22. And when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap your field right up to its edge, nor shall you gather the gleanings after your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and for the sojourner. I am the Lord your God. Reminds me of the story of Ruth. When Boaz had a field, he would let her get the scrapings or the gleanings, because it says, nor shall you gather the gleanings after your harvest. You should leave them for the poor, so people can go and get, the scraps of grain off the ground and survive off that. Okay, anyway, verse 22, the Feast of Trumpets. And the Lord said to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, you shall observe a day of solemn rest, a memorial proclaimed with a blast of trumpets, a holy convocation. You shall not do any ordinary work, and you shall present a food offering to the Lord. 26, the Day of Atonement. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, now on the 10th day of the 7th month is the Day of Atonement. It shall be for you a time of holy convocation, and you shall afflict yourselves and present a food offering to the Lord. And you shall not do any work on the very day, for it is a day of atonement, to make atonement for you before the Lord your God. For whoever is not afflicted on that very day shall be cut off from his people. And whoever does any work on that very day, that person I will destroy from among his people. You shall not do any work. It is a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwelling places. It shall be to you a Sabbath of solemn rest, and you shall afflict yourselves. On the 9th day of the month, beginning at the evening, from evening to evening, shall you keep your Sabbath. 33, the Feast of Booths, Booths, Booths. 33, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the people of Israel, saying, on the 15th day of the 7th month, and for the 7 days is the Feast of Booths to the Lord. On the 1st day shall be a holy convocation. You shall do no ordinary work. For 7 days you shall present food offerings to the Lord. On the 8th day you shall hold a holy convocation and present a food offering to the Lord. It is a solemn assembly. You shall not do any ordinary work. 37. These are the appointed feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim as times of holy convocation for presenting to the Lord food offerings, burnt offerings, and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings, each on its proper day, besides the Lord's Sabbath, and besides your gifts, and besides all your vow offerings, and besides all your free will offerings, which you give to the Lord. 39. On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the produce of the land, you shall celebrate the feast of the Lord 7 days. On the 1st day shall be a solemn rest, and on the 8th day shall be a solemn rest. And you shall take on the 1st day the fruit of splendid trees, branches of palm trees, and booths of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days. You shall celebrate it as a feast to the Lord for 7 days in a year. It is a statute forever throughout your generations. You shall celebrate it in the 7th month. You shall dwell in booths for 7 days. All native Israelites shall dwell in booths, that your generations may know that I made the people of Israel dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. 44. Thus Moses declared to the people of Israel the appointed feast of the Lord. Yeah, I'll definitely reread that again and see what kind of review I can do tomorrow. It sounds very interesting. The dwell in booths. I'm picturing like booths that's at like carnivals that are temporary, set up booths, like you're going to sell something. I don't know. All right, Leviticus 24, the lamps. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, command the people of Israel to bring you pure oil from beaten olives for the lamp, that a light may be kept burning regularly. Boy, olive oil is used for a ton of things. And here we are, like, to me, olive oil is like a new fad where, people are catching on how great olive oil is. God known from the beginning, he burns his holy lamps with olive oil, fresh pressed olive oil. That's amazing. Pure oil from beaten olives for the lamp, that a light may be kept burning regularly. 3. Outside the veil of the testimony in the tent of meeting, Aaron shall arrange it from evening to morning before the Lord regularly. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. He shall arrange the lamps on the lampstand of pure gold before the Lord regularly. I love it. Bread for the tabernacle. Verse 5. You shall take fine flour and bake 12 loaves from it. 2/10 of an ephah shall be in each loaf, and you shall set them in 2 piles, 6 in a pile, on the table of pure gold before the Lord. And you shall put pure frankincense on each pile, and it may go with the bread as a memorial portion, as a food offering to the Lord. Every Sabbath day Aaron shall arrange it before the Lord regularly. It is from the people of Israel as a covenant forever, and it shall be for Aaron and his sons, and they shall eat it in a holy place, since it is for him a most holy portion out of the Lord's food offering, a perpetual due. Punishment for blasphemy. Verse 9. Now an Israelite woman's son, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the people of Israel. And the Israelite woman's son and a man of Israel fought in the camp. And the Israelite woman's son blasphemed the name and cursed. Then they brought him to Moses. His mother's name was Shelemite, the daughter of Dibri and of the tribe of Dan. And they put him in custody till the will of the Lord should be clear to them. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, bring out of the camp the one who cursed, and let all who heard him lay their hands on his head, and let all the congregation stone him. And speak to the people of Israel, saying, whoever curses his God shall bear his sin. Whoever blasphemes the name of the Lord shall surely be put to death. All the congregation shall stone him. The sojourners as well as the native, when he blasphemes the name, shall be put to death. Okay. An eye for an eye, verse 17. Whoever takes a human life shall surely be put to death. Whoever takes an animal's life shall make it good, life for life. If anyone injures his neighbor as he has done, it shall be done to him. Fracture for fracture, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Whatever injury he has given a person shall be given to him. Whoever kills an animal shall make it good, and whoever kills a person shall be put to death. You shall have the same rule for the sojourner and for the native, for I am the Lord your God. So Moses spoke to the people of Israel, and they brought out the camp, the one who had cursed, and stoned him with stones. Thus the people of Israel did as the Lord commanded Moses. All right, God setting up the rules. You know, he brought these people out of the land of Egypt, and they just a bunch of rowdy heathens. So God is establishing all his rules and giving, you know, through his mouthpiece, which is Moses, and, you know, trying to whip them into shape. All right, Leviticus 25, almost there. The Lord spoke to Moses on Mount Sinai, saying, speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when you come into the land that I give you, the land shall keep a Sabbath to the Lord. For 6 years you shall sow your field, and for 6 years you shall prune your vineyards and gather in its fruits. But in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath to the Lord. You shall not sow your field or prune your vineyard. You shall not reap what grows of itself in your harvest, or gather the grapes of your undressed vine. It shall be a year of solemn rest for the land. The Sabbath of the land shall provide food for you, for yourself, and for your male and your female slaves, and for your hired workers, and the sojourner who lives with you, and for your cattle, and for the wild animals that are in your land. All its yield shall be for food. 8. You shall count 7 weeks of years, 7 times 7 years, so that the time of the 7 weeks of years shall give you 49 years. Then you shall sound the loud trumpet on the 10th day of the 7th month. On the day of atonement you shall sound the trumpet throughout your land, and you shall consecrate the 15th year. One moment. All right. 11th verse. That 15 years shall be a jubilee for you. In it you shall neither sow nor reap what grows of itself, nor gather the grapes from the undressed vines, for it is a jubilee. It shall be holy to you. You may eat the produce of the field. In this year of jubilee, each of you shall return to his property. And if you make a sale to your neighbor, or buy from your neighbor, you shall not wrong one another. You shall pay your neighbor according to the number of years after the Jubilee, and he shall sell to you according to the number of years for crops. If the years are many, you shall increase the price, and if the years are few, you shall reduce the price. For it is the number of the crops that he is selling to you. You shall not wrong one another, but you shall fear your God, for I am the Lord your God. Therefore you shall do my statutes and keep my rules and perform them, and then you will dwell in the land securely. The land will yield its fruit, and you will eat your fill and dwell in it securely. And if you say, what shall we eat in the 7th year, if we may not sow or gather our crops? I will command my blessing on you in the 6th year, so that it will produce a crop sufficient for 3 years. When you sow in the 8th year, you will be eating some of the old crop. You shall eat the old until the 9th year, when its crop arrives. The land shall not be sold in perpetuity, for the land is mine, for you are strangers and sojourners with me. All right, perpetuity, perpetually, like perpetual, over and over. God said even the land has to observe a Sabbath. All right, thankfully we were finished reading when they came in with those announcements, but I just wanted to do my church announcements. Speaking of announcements, hey, it's San Ohio. My Facebook friend and friend, Stephanie, her grandbaby, Malia, turned 11 today. Since my video from Friday still didn't upload, I'm going to give a late belated birthday to my nephew Javon. His birthday was Friday, and I wished him a happy birthday on my Friday show. But Javon, happy birthday again. And you know, my video, I said it on your birthday, but my video is still circulating. And my friend, my childhood friend Harold, he had a 55th birthday. So happy birthday, Harold. Dr. Harold, you know who you are. All right, my friends, that's all I have. Let's get going. It's 20 minutes. You know, it's all about the reading, and I'm not going to just plow through it trying to get 15 minutes. You know, I'm just going to read. I'll try not to waste time with banter, but 20 minutes is not as bad. All right, you guys have a great day. Hopefully, see you tomorrow, and I hope you enjoy the view. Bye.